might be a bit tired, right? Someone comes to him at an awkward time, and he responds in a manner which is not rude, but the person might feel a bit, the Shaykh didn't seem very enthusiastic or something. I realize it, because but that person doesn't, That person doesn't. And I've seen this happen on a number of occasions, that a person, he asks at an awkward time, maybe it's the month of Ramadan, and the scholars are fasting, giving lectures all day. After Taraweeh, he has a few lectures. After that, a person comes and asks him, and responded too quickly. And he just gets frustrated. He's like, how come the Shaykh was like that to me? Well, he doesn't realize the whole situation and scenario, what's going on, right? But he's only human. He's hungry. He needs to go home. He needs to rest, and he's tired, whatever. The point is, you have to be patient concerning the faults of your Shaykh. Obviously, advise him in the manners which are best. But unless you realize this, you're never going to go further in that. The sixth point, and inshallah there's a second last point, one point after this. The sixth point is to sit properly in front of your Shaykh. Okay? Now, so this is something which many people consider very strange in America. But believe it or not, like I said, the scholars of the past, they discussed this issue. And they mentioned the proper manner or the proper etiquettes of sitting in front of your Shaykh. The reason is, when you show respect to the knowledge that is coming out of your Shaykh's mouth, when you show respect to that knowledge physically, only then will inwardly you also have respect. Okay? And now you have to realize respect and how to show it varies from culture and place and time to time. But one of the things that is a big no-no at all times and places is to sit with your feet, for example, out and facing the Shaykh like that. You never do that in front of any Shaykh. In front of any Shaykh, anywhere, at any time he comes here. You don't do that. This is something that the student of knowledge should realize, that there's a proper way of sitting. Right? You don't sit with your feet facing him. This is always considered rude in all of the Islamic and Muslim cultures, from Pakistan, India, Saudi Arabia, Egypt, whatever Muslim culture you're talking about, this is considered very rude to sit in this manner. Likewise, this is proven in the hadith of Jibreel. Who knows the hadith of Jibreel? Exactly, the famous hadith, which is the first hadith of Sahih Muslim. Sahih Muslim. Not the first hadith of Sahih Bukhari, the first hadith is إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ. Okay? The first hadith of Sahih Muslim is the hadith of Jibreel. And one of the 5th or 6th hadiths in Bukhari is Jibreel. When Jibreel came to the Prophet ﷺ and he asked him about Iman and Islam, how did he sit in front of the Prophet ﷺ? He sat knee to knee. Okay? Rayhan, can you come and demonstrate how Jibreel sat? Sit how Jibreel sat. Sit down.
Okay.
How did Jibreel sit in front of the Prophet ﷺ? Yes, like this. And he put his hands on the Prophet's knees like this. Okay, so look at the manner, the etiquette in which he was sitting with. Exhibit A. Okay, okay, look at the manner. It wasn't a rude or a crude manner of sitting. There was a proper manner of sitting involved. Okay, and of the benefits the scholars derive from this hadith is how the student sits with his Shaykh. You sit in a proper manner. I don't expect you to sit like this for 3-4 hours, but I'm saying, you should have the proper manner of sitting. And this is also part of the adab that a student has with his Shaykh. The last point that we have, and again last point for this lecture, but there are many points, is that you speak with him in a nice and a proper manner. You speak with your Shaykh in a nice and a proper manner. And I like to point out, this lecture, I don't mean or intend it for myself, really. Wallahi, Allah knows this. I mean this for you to apply to your real Shaykhs. I'm not a real Shaykh, I'm just a student of knowledge. I mean this so that you know this, and I've seen this with my own 2 eyes. People, specifically from the West, they come to mashayikh, in Medina and in Mecca and stuff, and they don't know how to treat them properly. And the mashayikh, they're a bit offended, because this is not the way that you treat a shaykh. I remember we were sitting there once, and an American walks in. The Americans, they don't know this type of thing, He sits down with his back with the wall, he puts his feet right out in the shaykh's face, And the shaykh's like, looking at it, it feels awkward. This is not the way. It's a sign of crudeness, It's a sign of crudeness. So don't feel that, astaghfirullah, I'm elevating myself to the status of a shaykh and I want you to treat me like this. No. Wallahi, this is for you to know and conceptualize and put into practice, not just for someone minor like me, but mainly for the main shaykhs, for the real ulama, and for any of your teachers that teach you something that is good. There is a proper adab that you have. There is a proper manner and etiquette that you have with him. Okay? So the last point is that you speak with him in the proper manner. You address him in the proper names, okay? You don't say, hey, yo, man, you speak in the proper way. You address him by his name or by his title. If he's a scholar, you say, ya Shaykh, so and so. What do you say of this, or what is it? You address him properly. You speak to him in the proper tones. You speak to him at times that are right. Okay, you don't cause him an inconvenience. You don't call him up in the middle of the night. There are certain adab. For example, Shaykh Uthaymeen, Shaykh Ibn Baz, for example, they had home phone numbers they would give out to people. Okay, home phone numbers. They would give it out to the world. Everyone knows. Okay, it is up to us. For example, with the scholars that are living, if we ever call them up, make sure we call them at the proper times. And I know brothers that call them up. They just call them up. Shaykh Uthaymeen, Shaykh Maz, rahimahullah, he passed away. But they would just call them up in their homes, and they still do. But there's an adab that is involved. He's going to pick up the phone even if it's in the middle of the night. But there's a proper adab that is involved. That what time do you call? What is the best time? What is the best way to address him? So the point is, the last point is, in your address to the Shaykh and in your dealings and talkings with him, this too, a person has to be cautious and careful of and show the proper adab when he talks to his Shaykh. Like I said, this is just some of the points that I quickly compiled, literally in like 10-15 minutes, and really there's a